Hey folks, welcome to my channel. My name's Lina, aka Lina the Creator, and let's get into it. So, Nope is a Jordan Peele film starring Kiki Palmer, Kaluuya, Steven Yeun, and Brandon Perea. I 100% probably butchered some of those names, but I tried. I'm a huge Jordan Peele fan. He had me at Get Out. Low key, he had me at Keanu. Okay? But he really got me at Get Out. And when I saw this trailer, I was super excited. I was like, I ain't gonna miss this. Nope. You know? And I was sold. Forgive me, people. I had to do it. So, admittedly, during this movie, I was lost a few times. I definitely did have to turn to my friend and ask for clarity at some points. And sometimes she did not have an answer for me. I hope it didn't bother the fellow moviegoers, but a girl needed clarity. So throughout the film I was a bit lost, especially because parts of the film are sort of like these isolated stories that you're not able to really piece together until you get towards the end of the film, which isn't a bad thing and can be a really cool technique in a lot of films. We've seen it before. But with this film, because it felt like it was going at a slower pace, it was like, at times I was like, I'm not connecting 2 and 2. Like, it's not equaling 4. I'm trying to connect 2 and 2, and I'm getting like 75. And I think that created some issues in the film for me because it is a slower paced film than a lot of Jordan Peele's films. And I don't mean it like literally, even though it is technically a long film. It's actually in the pacing. So one thing I've found with previous Jordan Peele films is, despite the fact that it might take time to get to the ultimate like sort of point of the film, you don't notice it. You blink your eyes and you're at the end of the film. This did not feel like it. This felt like a very slowed down approach at trying to hit the same thing, which wouldn't have been an issue if it wasn't for the fact that I was also confused. And I do think, upon reflecting on the movie, that the confusion was on purpose. I feel like Jordan Peele was trying to flex, certain muscles, was trying to get across a specific story, and decided to go about it in a different way. But admittedly, for me, like, it had me confused. And straight up, it is not the type of movie that you can just like go to the washroom, grab your snacks. Listen, you need to hunker down. You need to make sure you got your drink in one hand, your popcorn in the other. You need to make sure your phone is silent, and you need to sit and make sure you use the washroom before you get there, because there's not a part of the film you can miss, because it won't make sense if you miss parts of it. Like, it just won't. So on top of it, I think that it was a reflection of the confusion the characters felt, but it felt a little too literal for me. Like, I was like, I don't know what is going on here. I actually thought the first clip of the movie was like an intro to like a production house. Like, seriously, because I was so like lost for a bit. But then slowly, as the film progressed, you start to piece together that it's telling a much larger story. Now, outside of you having to pay attention to it, which I don't mind, but because it was a slower pace, it was just like, okay, like, let's get to the point. I also didn't know who Chris Kattan was. I didn't know who he was. And they kept talking about him like he was this amazing guy. And I was like, I don't know who this is. I ain't never heard of Chris Kattan. And then I Googled him and I was like, oh, that guy, like, Night at the Roxbury. So I will admit, like, that was my biggest confusion point. I was like, why do they keep talking about Chris Kattan like he invented bread? Like, I don't get it. But once I Googled him, looked into his acting history, I was like, my bad. I should have known about this guy. Outside of the confusion, I honestly felt like the bond between both characters, the siblings played by Kaluuya and Kiki Palmer, and don't mind me, I just forgot their characters' names. I felt like that could have been explored more, especially since Daniel's character is so subdued and Kiki is like the complete opposite. She is hilarious, loud, very clear about her emotions, whereas Daniel Kaluuya is the opposite. And that sort of tension can create really interesting dynamics, right? We've seen it in stories before, but in this case, I felt like it didn't get explored as much as it needed to. We didn't get to see that tension drawn out a bit more. We didn't get to see them come together in a way that truthfully felt authentic. At times it was like, I feel like there was a scene supposed to be here that was supposed to like piece this together, this bond, and it's not in here. And because this film was supposed to be 3 hours and 40 minutes, the director's cut, I feel like there's a couple scenes they could have probably dropped there to provide that clarity, but for whatever reason, it just didn't meet the mark. Outside of that, the acting overall was super superb, but I did feel like Daniel Kaluuya was a little too subdued. Like sometimes you're expecting an elevated reaction, a more emotional reaction, even though he's a more quiet to himself character. And he didn't get that. And the thing is with Daniel, I've seen him in The Widows. I've seen him in Black Panther. I've seen him in Skins. I've seen him in Black Mirror. Like Daniel Kaluuya, I've been following his career for years. And not only is he an amazing actor, but I also think he's an amazing eye actor. And I know that sounds weird, like eye acting. Like, what am I saying? Have you ever looked at Daniel Kaluuya's eyes in a movie? Legit, you could cut out just the top part of his face and you will get emotion. He will reel you in with his eyes, okay? When he does that little head tilt while that guy's rapping in The Widows and looks him directly in the face, the expressions you see of him when you watch Queen and Slim, like, he can act. I have to tell you about it. It's just a fact. But I think in this movie, and I'm gonna make the guess that it was like more of a director's decision rather than an acting choice, it felt so subdued. I'm like, yo, like, this is a situation where the emotion should probably be, I'm not saying it has to be at a 10, because Kiki at times was like 7, 8, 9, 10. But I mean, give me a 6, Daniel. Give me a 6. This is a wild situation. It's a bit tough. You know what I mean? Not everyone's calm, cool, and collected all the time. I don't care who you are. There are certain things that are going to happen and your energy is going to increase. And I felt like that could have been explored, especially since we know Daniel, he got the range. Outside of that, now let's get into the stuff that I loved about this film. Beautiful. Cinematography, on point. Okay, they're absolutely stunning films. The coloring of the film, like, it is legit such a beautiful film. And I wish that beauty would have lended itself more to the story. Not in a bad way. It's just like we get a lot of shots of openness, and I get why, but at times it's like, okay, we see the beauty of this, we see the color. Let's get a little bit more into the story. Now into the stuff I loved about this. Okay. Her name is Kiki, the actor Palmer. Okay, listen, Kiki can act. She told you on that Twitter post, she has accolades galore. And Kiki's the type of person that has a very distinct personality and is someone that, I don't know if it's just me, but it's impossible not to love Kiki Palmer. Like, I watched her in Akeelah and the Bee. I watched her in, I think it was True Jackson VP or Miss Jackson VP. I might be making up the name, but you all know the show she was on in Nickelodeon. Like, I've been watching her for years, and Kiki not only has a brilliant personality and a great sense of humor, but then you get to see her really flex her skills in this movie. Sure, she's like a 10 a lot of the times, but it lends itself to the character. You get to see a beautiful range in Kiki that, personally for me, I've seen before. But based on what the internet streets are saying, some people were not hip to what Kiki Palmer's been providing. I don't understand why. But it just was an opportunity to just showcase her range. Her humor was so innate to the character, on point. Like, she would steal scenes. It felt like at time, like Kiki was the lead and Daniel was her supporting. And again, I'm sure that was on purpose, but it just felt like Kiki came and she delivered, and then she came back and delivered again. And then she said, wait, hold up, I wasn't finished. And that is what she provided throughout the film. And it created a really great opportunity to not provide some levity to some of the scenes, but it also was just a great opportunity to like really, I saw this as an ode to Kiki Palmer, an ode to her ability to emote, an ode to her ability to create, to act, to really hone her skill set. I wasn't surprised. I just got to enjoy. Outside of that, another thing I really enjoyed was Keith David. I wish he got more time on screen. Keith David, if you don't know, is a Black acting legend. He's an acting legend, period, but he's been out here and he just has a certain grace and cadence that he provides to film, emotion. Like if you've seen Keith David, you've seen him. You know his work. So it would just suck that we just didn't get a bit more time with him. And of course, this man's been acting. He will keep acting. And I'll keep checking out what he does. So I'm not going to lie. I've been hearing what the internets are saying. A lot of people did not like this film. Okay? Didn't really see that it helped Jordan Peele's sort of like resume of films. Personally, for me, I liked it. I think there was something really interesting about the fact that it plays off of like what a big bad can be. Okay. It was an absolutely stunning big bad. And I don't want to get too descriptive because I want you to watch the film. But when I saw that, I was like, oh, what an interesting approach to make this thing that is supposed to feel scary and uncomfortable and overarching beautiful when it's supposed to be the most scariest. And I just love that. I thought that was such an interesting direction. And I thought it really I enjoyed it. I was like, why do I want this? I've been seeing people been calling it AKA the bedsheet, but no, it was stunning. I love that approach. I enjoyed that. Now, I'm going to be honest. When I first watched the movie, I came out of it. I was like, I don't know how I feel about it. It was sort of like how I felt about Renaissance. Both are great, but you're like, oh, this feels a bit different. I'm going to need to sit. I'm going to need to take it in. And then once I took it in, I was like, wait, I like this. This was providing a beat I wasn't expecting. Same thing with Renaissance. Okay, I had to take a seat, but then when I leaned in, I was like, okay, blaring this in the car. And I think that's what this film felt like. You have to sit with it. I think with Us and Get Out, you didn't have to like sort of pause and think about how you felt about the film. I had to do this with Nope, and I like that. I like that it made me question what I sort of defined as a thriller, how I felt about thriller movies, and what sort of emotions they should evoke in me. Now, I will admit, I wish there was a bit more thrill in this thriller, but overall, it was a great film. I enjoyed it. I don't regret spending my money. I just don't know if it's going to get a second watch from me, but it was worth it. I would give it, honestly, overall, a 3 out of 5. And I think that's how I felt about Nope. So let me know down below, what were your thoughts? You know, would you go see this again? I gave it 3 out of 5 because I feel like I have no regrets about spending the money. I think it was great to watch, but I wouldn't go back again. And I think there were certain points that were missed. But again, Jordan Peele's going to make another film and I'm going to show up because that is how this works. Also check out in the description below. I'll be listing some of the art directors, graphic designers, people who make the film look the way it does. I work in a creative industry and creating visual looks is sort of key to like what I love to do. So I just want to shout out some of these people that don't really get the same shine they usually would because they're not in front of the camera, they're working behind the scenes. So definitely let me know your thoughts down below. Check out my links, Instagram and stuff, and I hope to see you soon.